Hey, welcome to the weekly branding roundup. So every Friday, hopefully, I will try and post a video of a kind of a weekly roundup of branding news, design, business, entrepreneurship, startups, things that interest me. Maybe I might even do, I don't know, a movie kind of a segment. So this is the first one. I am just trying to see how it might become interesting. Maybe, maybe not. We'll give it a try. Okay. So let's start today's weekly roundup. Of course, CES is all the rage now, right? CES 2020 is going on, and Sony actually unveiled their PlayStation 5 logo, PS5, and the internet was, there was a storm, right? They went crazy. They were saying Sony is getting lazy. They just thought that it does look like PS4 and to a certain extent like PS3, right? So when they showed this PS5, they thought people were expecting the logo to be different, something radical, because hopefully the PS5 is going to be groundbreaking, right? But when they saw this, people were hugely disappointed. They thought Sony didn't put in enough effort, blah, blah, blah. Personally, I don't think this is too bad, because the trend with kind of brand identities, especially with larger brands these days, is that they're trying to simplify. They're trying to keep their logos and identities clean. So I think this may be a good thing for Sony, because Sony's trying to take the brand recall of the PS4 logo and just keep it consistent, keep it simple, keep it recognizable. So I don't think it is that bad. Anyway, the next interesting news is, this is from Design Week again. Royal Mail unveils stamp collection celebrating UK's contribution to gaming. So a set of 12 stamps, and they've been designed by Supple Studio. That's in conjunction with graphic designer and video game expert Sam Dyer and Julie Rignall. So these stamps trace the kind of UK designed video games, right? Classic video games. You got Tomb Raider here, and then you have, what is this? I don't know. Elul, maybe not. I'm probably reading that wrong. Anyway, nostalgia, yes, plays a big part of the design process. So yeah, these stamps are nice, and I think it's nice to have nostalgia. It's a good kind of recognition of that video game contribution from that era and all that. But I'm not sure how people would receive it. Not many people use stamps these days. Maybe I'm going to get flack for that, but I believe that not many people use stamps these days. And the ones that really use stamps and really care about stamps and look at them, I'm not talking about the collectors, but I'm just talking about people who use stamps regularly, right? I don't know if they would look at these retro kind of classic video games stamps and appreciate them. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Interesting though, very interesting concept, and I think it's a good nod to the classic era of video games and where they are today. So I like it. I like it. All right. The next one is from the Branding Journal and top 10 branding books in 2019. Nice. Okay, so I have a few favorites in this top 10. I'm not going to really go into each one of them. It's going to take a long time. So I'm just going to breeze through them. The first is Building Strong Brands by David Aker. Now I like this. This one is a good one. It's a classic book. It's excellent in-depth approach to different branding concepts. It is written in an academic style, but offers excellent basic principles you can apply to improve your brand. So this is a good one. Then you have brand building authenticity, 7 habits of iconic brands. Okay, this is a playoff of 7 habits of successful people, right? This is a good one, Michael Beverland. This book explains in detail what brand authenticity is and why marketers and brand strategists should care about building authentic brands. Now, building authentic brands is very important. I do write a lot about that. I have made a couple of videos. I will make more in the future, but yes, brands should be authentic. I believe that brands should be authentic. Well, everybody should believe that, and a lot of people do believe it, but the question is, of course, how can we make our brands authentic? And that is the million-dollar question. Then you have Do Good, Embracing Brand Citizenship to Fuel Both Purpose and Profit by Ann Barth Thompson. Hello, my name is Awesome, How to Create Brand Names That Stick, Alexandra Watkins. Now, to be honest, I haven't read this book, and I don't know. I'm just going to read what Branding Journal is going to say about it, but I have a very strong opinion on brand naming. I consider myself to be an expert of sorts on brand naming. I have created dozens of brand names for lots of brands out there. I've worked with clients creating brand names, so this is something close to heart, and I think I'll get this book and I'll actually read it and review it maybe down the line. So this book provides a lot of concrete tips and ideas for creating powerful brand names. The author sums up everything you need to know to come up with powerful brand names through very simple, actionable ideas. Okay. The next one is Positioning, The Battle for Your Mind, Al Ries and Jack Trout. A beautiful book. I actually read this, not read, but I heard it on Audible, and it's a classic book. It's a little old, but it's a classic book. It does really take you behind the scenes and talk to you about the concept of brand positioning. And for those trying to stand out from the crowd, it is a classic on product positioning, a term which gets used a lot in the field of marketing, but not always easy to understand. Yes, I recommend this book. This is a good one. Next one is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Okay. Another great book, Building a Story Brand. If you haven't heard of Donald Miller, then I'd be surprised. I like Donald. I've read this book. Well, I've heard it on Audible. I love Donald's website, StoryBrand. In fact, I was in contact with Donald about a program that they have. I wanted to check out the program. But yeah, I mean, his videos are good. His newsletter is fantastic. Yeah, I recommend this book. The next one is Brand Visual Identity Design Books. I don't know what this is about. Haven't read it. I can't comment on it. Logo Design Love by David Airy. Yes, okay. Another classic book, David Airy. I personally know David Airy. I mean, we've communicated over the internet in the past. I love his work. I love his blog, his writings, and his book. Packaging Design Book by Tom Skazzy. Future of Packaging. Okay, I don't know about it. The Brand Architecture Portfolio Strategy, David Aker. Yes, I have read this book too. This is a good one. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic book, but yeah, I mean, one read, it's pretty good for portfolio strategy. So if you have different brands, right? If you have like a portfolio of brands, you have a parent brand and sub brands, then yeah, it's a challenge, right? Trying to pull all the brands together. How do you market them? This book does address those topics. So yeah, that's it. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is again from Branding Journal. Korean Tourism Organization reinvigorate and refresh the nation's brand, right? So this is a new brand, Imagine Your Korea. And so what they're trying to say is that the Interbrand actually says, we created a brand slogan that would transfer the ownership of Korea from KTO, which is the Korea Tourism Organization, maybe, to the people, right? So they're saying, imagine your Korea. Imagine your Korea. Now, the premise is fantastic. So what Interbrand is trying to do is really say, they're trying to put people into Korea. So immersion, trying to imagine Korea. Now, coupled with strategic AdWords, I think this could be a great brand strategy and brand slogan. Now, I've been to South Korea. I've been to Seoul. This was a couple of years back. Beautiful city, not just city. I went to a couple of other towns, and beautiful country, very advanced, very nice. And yes, I think more people should visit South Korea. I went to South Korea. I don't know about North Korea, right? And this one is about South Korea, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so I think there are lots of things that you can immerse the audience in, and they can then connect with that. So it's a good strategy. I think it would work well. So imagine your Korea, right? Okay, the next one, this is from The Drum. I love The Drum, a great website to keep tabs on what's happening. Bond stirs controversy by shaking up convention in alcohol-free Heineken ad, right? Okay, so fictional super spy James Bond has ditched dry martinis for alcohol-free beer in a new commercial for Heineken depicting present baton holder Daniel Craig. Okay, so what they're trying to say is that it shows, well, there was kind of a reaction to this advert, right? Where this advert shows a barman looking more shaken than the martini he serves when Craig politely declines the martini and then, shows a bucket of alcohol-free beer and says, I'm working. So people really didn't take too kindly to it. It shows that Bond is still held hostage by commercial need. It needs the control that the supporting brands have. It shows the power of commercial parties, that they're allowed to tweak this character according to the product. Okay, so so he points to the Heineken beer, right? And he says, I'm working, and then he has that beer, which is quite cool. Now, somebody's saying, is the Bond franchise now saying that any commercial partner can mold Bond's character in any way they like? Okay, so the premise is that Bond should only drink martini. He cannot drink a beer. If I get this right, the comments and the narrative behind it. And I say, why? Why can't Bond change, right? Why can't he have a different kind of a drink? Why can't he evolve, right? And what's wrong with commercialization? What's wrong with product placement? Of course, if done tastefully. And in this case, I think it's very tasteful. That ad is really beautiful, in my opinion. It shows Bond, or rather Daniel Craig, and in a very kind of a sober. It's nice. I love it, right? So I don't know. I think this was a bit of a I think people are taking offense at everything, especially AdWords. Now, of course, there are some terrible AdWords that come out, and when people take offense to it, I understand. It makes sense. But in this case, I don't agree. I think this is a great ad. I think this was done well, right? This is done well. Okay. Then we have brand new by under consideration. And I just wanted to look at this new logo and identity for Canberra Raiders by Inklab. I just wanted to take a quick look at that. And so the before and after, you can see not a huge difference in the colors, and difference in terms of how they set it apart. I think it's cleaner, it's smaller. The typography, I think, is a huge improvement. So Canberra itself and even the Raiders, beautiful, beautiful. The new one, that typography is fantastic. The face is, I think, a little narrower, but yeah, it looks fantastic. So they're saying the Raiders Viking head, our brand's primary mark, has been simplified with tweaks to its fine details to make sure it looks great in any format or location. So yeah, it's been tweaked a little bit. The color palette has also been simplified from 6 to 5 colors and refreshed to include the Green Machine Envy and Bad and Mean Navy, both of which have been utilized in previous seasons. So yeah, it's a subtle kind of identity change. You can see some change under the nose, and they removed the highlight of the ball here. Yeah, beautifully done. But the Raiders and Canberra, the typography, I think that's beautifully done. Okay, that's all the time for today. I think I've actually gone over 15 minutes. It's one of my longer videos. This is the weekly roundup. The next time I'll do it better. Maybe I'll plan it well. And if you have any news, just email them to me, pr@spellbrand.com, or just, wherever you're watching this, if it's on LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube, just leave a link to your piece of news, and I'll try and cover it in the next Friday one. All right, have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.